as some of the language you'll hear on Blood on the Microphone can be adult in nature. This program is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is strongly advised.
And now it's time for another Medical Minute. Here with some interesting medical facts is retired writer-editor for the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland, Bill Schmalfelt.
We know Aaron Walker is just being cautious when he sends his wife out to look underneath the car to see if there are any bombs under it. He hides either in the house or behind some bomb-proof shield while she gets on her hands and knees and rolls around on the garage floor looking for incendiary devices. But is he being as careful as he needs to be? Recent studies have shown that terrorists have developed the capability to implant small incendiary devices inside a person's body while that person is asleep. And in cases where they want to really work at it and really make sure they've got a good attachment of the device, they have been known to chloroform people while they were sleeping so they can really get up in there in the colon and attach the incendiary device to the colon wall. Today we speak to a colorectal expert who was asked to remain anonymous for obvious reasons. You are a certified colorectal doctor, and you've found many instances where people have had actual incendiary devices implanted in their colons while they were asleep. Now, can you tell us how to locate one of these incendiary devices in an otherwise healthy colon?
Yes, of course. What we're looking at in this image is a big polyp that has
a bomb
in it. And you could see that this
deadly explosive
polyp is almost completely involving the entire center of the inside of the colon, of the lumen. Now, it's actually like a ball. You see how it moves back and forth on a very thick stalk. So it doesn't actually obstruct. And on each side, there's a dark tattoo that was placed there by an endoscopist to label this so that when it gets removed, which is going to have to be done surgically, it could be found by a surgeon. You see the surface looks very nodular and very irregular, and that's because there's
plastic explosives
on the surface that's growing into the stalk. And this patient also had no symptoms because they presented with anemia. This polyp had just been slowly dripping some blood and causing some leakage of the blood into the bowel, which eventually caused anemia. We're now using a blue light known as narrowband imaging, and what you could see is the pattern of the swirls on the surface become more irregular as we look at parts of the polyp that have the
cleverly hidden explosive device
in it. It allows us to distinguish normal tissue from abnormal tissue in that blue light. Now, this polyp, as it gets bigger, can actually obstruct and cause complete blockage. But it probably started years ago from a smaller polyp that was completely benign, that over time genetic mutations occurred,
which terrorists found perfect for the implantation of the device,
that now needs to be removed surgically. The good news is that by removing it surgically, there's still a very good chance of cure.
Unless the device explodes while still in his colon, at which time we all will be killed. Well, we hope that doesn't happen, Doctor, and we hope that you have a successful surgery with this unfortunate patient. But once again, this proves you cannot be too careful as far as paranoia is concerned. You could have bombs under your car, in your toaster, in your coffee maker, or anywhere in your body, as we will explain throughout the course of today's program. Thank you again, Doctor. I'm retired NIH writer-editor Bill Schmalfelt, and this has been another Medical Minute.
Who knows what he in the hearts of men.
The liberal grouch knows.
The liberal grouch Bill Schmalfeld, a man of meager means, a student of science, and a master of other people's minds, devotes his life to righting wrongs, solving crimes, protecting the innocent, and punishing the guilty. Using advanced methods that may ultimately become available to all law enforcement agencies, Schmalfeld is known to the evil Breitbart Empire as the Liberal Grouch. Never seen, only heard, a seemingly supernatural nemesis as haunting to the superstitious mind of a right-winger moron as a ghost, as inevitable as a guilty conscience. The Liberal Grouch has vowed that only death will end his quest for social justice. And when that day happens, and his voice is silenced, it will surely be as the result of blood on the microphone.
Ah, yes, and a happy Tuesday to you. It's April 9th, 2013, and it seems I'm babysitting dogs again, so if I have to jump up and let dogs out of the room, you will excuse me. My wife is pressure washing the house. Yeah, she has to do the difficult chores around the house because I'm physically unable to do so. But one physical chore I would never ask my wife to do, not in a million years, is to crawl under my car and check for bombs. For one thing, if anybody really wanted to get me, I'm easy enough to get. Just leave my wife and kid and dogs out of it, all right? I mean, I'm available. If you really seriously want to get me, I'm available. And frankly, death ain't nothing but a thing. You know, and I wouldn't have even known about this if it was not for the epic fail of the Everybody blog about Howard County Day yesterday. Oh yeah, this was weeks in the making. Ever since the butthurt squadron of the Breitbots all felt slighted because the Howard County state's attorney refused to prosecute me and Brett Kimberlin the way they wanted us prosecuted, which would mean writing new laws. The butthurt has been extraordinary. You can see the butthurt from outer space. This is true. They actually have satellites that can measure butthurt. And Becca Lower, I don't know if she really meant to do this. I don't know if she really wanted to expose Aaron Worthing for the coward that he is, Aaron Walker for the coward that he is, but she did. In her blog, Lowering the Boom, Conservative Politics in Ohio and Beyond, Rebecca Lauer on March 25th starts her blog thusly. Partway through my telephone interview with Aaron Walker, he explained that the noise I was hearing in the background was his wife checking under their car for a bomb. It just blows my mind. This has really been about all I can think about since I read this yesterday. Big, tough guy, brave Aaron Walker sends his little wife out to check the car for bombs. Oh, heavens to Betsy. Somebody should write a song about that. Everyone considered him the coward of Manassas. He never stood one single time to prove Manassas wrong. His mama named him Aaron, but the folks just called him stupid. Something always told me they were reading Aaron wrong. I was mistaken. It was May in 2010 when he wrote a blog about Islam. I only read it once 'cause of all the blasphemy. I still recall the hateful words as written there by Aaron. My name's Aaron Worthing, and I dare you come kill me. Cut off my head and then shoot me till I'm dead. I ain't scared of Muslims who I shame. Now it proves I'm a man with this tough guy racist stand. I'm gonna ride this blog to right-wing fame. Just please nobody say my real last name. This hateful Islamophobe was soon known through the right wing. On his blog he didn't have to prove he was a man. One day while he was loafing at his job he saw on Twitter someone knew his real name and he was gonna tell. Aaron wrote a letter to the folks who ran his office. His tears fell. This mattered more than his co-workers' lives. He sent the note by email and then waited for the phone call. As his tears fell on his new iPhone, he heard these words again. Cut off my head and then shoot me till I'm dead. I ain't scared of Muslims who I shame. Now it proves I'm a man with this tough guy racist stand. I'm gonna ride this blog to right-wing fame. Just please nobody say my real last name. The gals in human resources quick called them up a lawyer. The lawyer sent an email and told Aaron he was done. When Aaron packed his office up, nobody wished him good luck. They just covered up their smiles when Aaron walked through the door. All those years of hatred had just jumped right up to bite him. He thought he was ordained to be the latest right-wing star. But Aaron lost his cushy job. He lost more than he reckoned. And now he makes his wife check for the bombs under his car. And I remember how he wrote, they cut off my head and then shot me till I'm dead. I'm real scared of Muslims who I shame. Now I'm a washed up liar and my wife bomb checks my car. And bet your ass I know who is to blame. I'll wet my pants when someone says his name. Everyone considers him the coward of Manassas.
Blood on the microphone.
Honey, I have to go down to the video store and rent some new video games. Would you check the car for bombs, please?
I'm tired of having to go under the car and check it for bombs. My knees are all scuffed up, my fingernails are broken, my knuckles are scuffed and scratched, and I just don't feel attractive anymore.
Well, somebody has to do it, and I'm sure not gonna.
Why not rent a waif?
Rent a waif?
That's right, rent a waif. When the Christian World Adoption Agency went bankrupt earlier this year, there were still a few stockholders with a few bucks to spend, so they incorporated and formed Rent a Waif. Now, if you have a minefield that needs clearing, or a car that needs to be checked for bombs, or anything dangerous like that, Rent a Wave
For the low price of $7,500 plus extra fees, which we'll tell you about after you sign the contract.
will deliver to you an Ethiopian toddler. Not quite able to walk yet, but he can crawl real good.
Rent-a-waif, eh?
How does it work?
Well, here's what we do. In your situation, we put a diaper on the waif made of material known to automatically set off hidden bombs. You take the little critter out to the garage and set him on the ground, and he starts crawling around, and if there's a bomb in your car, kerblooey!
Well, it sounds pretty good, but I'm still not convinced.
That's a lot of money.
You'd be surprised how many times I ran into that line of resistance. Here, look at this video. See how the little critter's just crawling right through that minefield. Yep, the mercenary soldiers just stand there and watch as the sweet little darling just makes his way casually through the minefield until suddenly, there's one. But the minefield's not clear yet, so they set down another baby. And the same thing, of course, happens. Now, once the soldiers have a clear path through the minefield, they're able to proceed, and all that's been lost is a few Ethiopian babies.
Gosh, that sounds like it would work great.
Oh, it's guaranteed.
Not an actual guarantee.
But what if there's not a bomb in the car? I don't want to have to take care of a baby every day.
Simple. If you check the car and it turns out that there are no bombs, you call us and we come and pick up the baby
For a small extra fee.
and deliver the baby back to your house the next time you need to take the car out.
Wow, honey, that sounds like the answer to our prayers.
Yeah, Rent-A-Wave sounds great.
Who do I call?
1555 Rent-A-Wave. That's 1555 Rent-A-Wave. That's 155 Rent-A-Wave. Probably is not legal in your community.
3 weeks later.
Honey, I need to take the car to the video store again and get some new games. Would you go check for bombs?
We don't have to check for bombs anymore, Aaron, now that we've got Rent-A-Wave.
All right, you little crumb snatcher, get under the car and see what you can find.
Berlin.
Another couple saved by Rent-A-Wave.
Hi there, Jimmy.
Hi there, Bubba.
Been to the post office, I see.
Yep, got a little package here, too.
What's that from? What does that say on there?
Oh, it's just some manuals for some machinery that I
No,
got.
it says on there Cafe Press. Don't they make T-shirts and stuff like that?
Yeah. I got some Romney for President t-shirts.
You idiot, the election was half a year ago already.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Well, maybe I ought to just go back into the post office.
Now
You're
hang
not-
on there a second. Let's have a look at what you really got here.
No,
'cause
no.
Why, Jimmy, look at what you got here. You got a Team Kimberlin baseball jersey. I'm ashamed of you,
Oh,
Jimmy.
hell, Bubba. It ain't nothing. It doesn't mean that I'm supporting Team Kimberlin or nothing. Hell, I was just gonna, go home and, burn it.
Yeah, but Team Kimberlin still gets your money, don't they?
Well, they say it's going to go for a good cause, for the National Parkinson Foundation. My daddy had Parkinson's, and there's that Justice Through Music project.
Well, you know that's all just a bunch of terrorist hoo-ha.
Well, like I said, I'm just gonna take it. Just go take it home and burn it anyway. I'm gonna put it right there in the 55-gallon burn drum and set it on fire and take pictures of myself dancing around the flames and laughing. And what are you doing?
Oh, I
here?
just come down and check my mail.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll go in with you.
Oh, no, that's not necessary. You don't gotta do that.
I'm gonna anyway. Well, look at what you got there. It's a Cafe Press package. Open her up there once. Let's see what you got. Looky there. A Team Kimberlin hat.
Well, I was just gonna take it home and burn it like you're doing.
Right. That's what you were gonna do.
Oh, let's face it. We both feel the same way about it. These morons on the right wing have been picking on that Kimberlin feller for years, and all he does anymore is work for social justice. And hell, I believe in social justice, don't you?
Yeah, I guess I do.
So let's not burn our stuff. Let's wear it.
Yeah, just not where nobody can see us.
Go to www.cafepress.com/Team Kimberlin and look at the wide assortment of items for you to choose from. And remember, 50% of the proceeds from the sale of each item goes to the National Parkinson Foundation, and the other 50% goes to the Justice Through Music Project.
I got an admission to make to you, Bubba.
And what's that, Jimmy?
I voted for Obama.
I did too, Jimmy. I did too.
Blood on the microphone.
Microphone, there we go. I had to turn my microphone on, duh. Bill Schmalfeld here, the liberal grouch, and boy, do we got a show for you. I tell you what, coming up, we're going to hear again from our crazy McStain as he's going to explain to us why Aaron Walker is not a coward. We're going to have another medical minute, some more music coming up, and also a chat with one of our local ministers who will explain to us why it was right and proper for Aaron Walker to send his wife out to check the car for bombs. But I want to talk for just a moment about this epic fail yesterday. This everybody contact the Howard County State's Attorney. It went nowhere. I think something like 12 blogs took part, and nobody got a response from the Howard County State's Attorney. So, Aaron Walker turns his attention back to me. First of all, he prints this picture that Kimberlin unmasked, the unwashed, unwiped son of somebody, where he says, Bill Schmalfeld threatens to dox all the Blog Howard County SAO participants. You see, it's like throwing bread into a koi pond. You put a little misinformation out there, you just drop it in the koi pond, and watch all the little fishies just go nuts. Just watch them jump. It's like going fishing. You know, they jump right into the boat if you use the right bait. And this bait worked very well because all the little right-wingers yesterday were talking about how I was going to publish the names and addresses of everybody who was taking part in the team in the Everybody blog about Howard County State's Attorney Day. And Aaron Walker, in his column, Bill Schmalfeld admits his conduct is harassment, writes here, Admittedly, the picture is hard to read, but the key thing is he is threatening to dox every participant in Everybody blog about the Howard County State's Attorney Day after declaring it to be harassment. And in doing so, he has tacitly admitted that he himself is engaged in harassment. See if you can follow this. Oh, we're going to need a roadmap. For months, Schmalfeld continually emailed and tweeted to Lee Stranahan with accusations of things like him pimping his wife out to prostitutes. Pimping his wife out to prostitutes. When did I ever say that Lauren Stranahan was being pimped out to prostitutes? No, I think what I said was Lee Stranahan was acting as Lauren Stranahan's pimp, and we can prove it. God damn it, Walker, get your stories right. And attacks on him for the stillborn death of his daughter. I never attacked Lee Stranahan. I just said that there was no proof he ever had a stillborn daughter. There's no birth certificate. There's no death certificate. His story about the incident changed 3 different times. That's just me telling the truth. If Stranahan wants to provide the proof that he actually ever had a stillborn daughter, hell, I'll be more than happy to share it with you. That's not attacking. It was so repellent that even self-identified members of Anonymous were disgusted. Then again, this is a man who was kicked off Daily Kos for being disgusting. How many times do they have to bring that up? Every time they talk about me, it's like, he was kicked off Daily Kos, as if these guys are daily readers of Daily Kos. And this is a man who covered up a parody ad in which he imagined Lee pimping out his own children. I didn't try to cover it up. It's still out there on the internet if you want to listen to it. Just dig up some of my past shows. You'll find it there. And it's not Lee Stranahan pimping out his children. It's a fictitious character named Lee, Leigh, Strangamaham, which sounds nothing like Stranahan, talking about wait until his daughter gets old enough to pimp out. That has nothing to do with the real life Lee Stranahan. At least I don't think it does. So disgusting is par for the course for Bill Schmuckfelt. And he crosses that out. Schmalfelt. What a grown up. What a maroon. What an Eskimo pie head. Oh, I laugh at you. I can't help it. You're just a laughable, contemptible stain on society. I'm so offended by you, Worthing, and the fact that you make your wife check the car on a daily basis to see if there's any bombs in it. I reached out to some of our church community here in the Elkridge, Maryland area to see what they said about it. We're joined now by the Most Holy Reverend Apostle Bishop Ralph Screed of the First Pentecostal Baptismal Primitive Congregation of God's Holy Word here in Elkridge, Maryland. And what would you like me to call you? Reverend, Apostle, Bishop, Ralph?
Call me Jimmy.
Jimmy. I don't see that in your title anywhere.
That's just a name I like to be called. It's Jimmy.
All right, well, Jimmy.
That's Reverend Jimmy, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Reverend Jimmy.
Thank you.
Reverend Jimmy, you were listening to my show yesterday, and you heard me laughing about the concept of Aaron Walker forcing his wife to check his car for bombs. This is something apparently he does every day, according to the person who wrote this blog. If you're so concerned about your safety, don't come to Maryland by Becca Lower. And if you don't mind, let me just read the first part of this to you.
You go right ahead.
Partway through my telephone interview with Aaron Walker, he explained that the noise I was hearing in the background was his wife checking under their car for a bomb with a mirror.
Uh-huh.
Now, the writer continues, this has become part of a daily life for Walker, a Commonwealth of Virginia attorney whose family has been targeted for more than a year, blah, 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 blah. And it basically goes on to support the failed effort yesterday to slow down the work of the Howard County State's Attorney by people who feel that the State's Attorney did not rule properly in the cases that Lee Stranahan and Aaron Walker had against me.
Well, I'm not here to say one thing or another about those cases, Bill, because I don't know anything about them.
But you do say that I'm wrong to laugh at Aaron Walker or to mock Aaron Walker for sending his wife out to check his car for bombs.
That is correct. It says right there in Genesis 3:16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow shalt thou bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
So what you're saying then, Reverend Jimmy, is that Walker can order his wife to go out and check his car for bombs, and she's required to do so.
That is exactly what I am saying. For it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3, I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of every woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God.
But sending one's own wife out into harm's way, and I'm not saying for a moment that I believe anybody is actually threatening Aaron Walker. I believe this is all a creation of his. Whether or not he knows he's creating this fantasy world or not is something for psychiatrists to determine. But sending your wife out to do this kind of work, do you feel this is appropriate?
It says in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 22 to 24, Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything.
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 Including crawling around under the car looking for bombs.
Colossians 3:18. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as it is fit in the Lord.
And you think that God would have no problem with a man hiding in the safety of his house while his wife is on her hands and knees underneath a car checking it for bombs.
The book of Titus, chapter 2, verses 4 and 5, teach the young women to be obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God shall not be blasphemed.
So you're saying if Aaron Walker's wife told him to get a big pile of sand and a hammer and pound that sand up his ass, if he told her to go out and check the car for bombs, she would be blaspheming.
That is what I said. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 11 through 15. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was first in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
It has everything to do with what we're talking about. God says women are to be subservient to their husbands.
So if he said, step in front of that bus, she'd have to do it.
Well, no, that would be asking her to take her own life, which would be suicide, which would be commanding her to commit a sin.
So what's the difference then between sending your wife under your car to look for bombs?
Well, there aren't necessarily going to be bombs under the car, and frankly, a woman is better suited for that sort of thing anyway, with their nimble, slender little fingers. And if something bad happened to a woman, like let's say the car explodes, it's not like she can't be replaced.
You're talking about women as if they're property.
I don't know if the Bible goes as far as to call them property, but the Bible does tell women to submit themselves to their husband. And you know, you have dogs. You have your dogs submit themselves to your authority. I suppose it's kind of the same thing.
All right. Well, I guess I'm more confused on this subject than I was before we talked, sir. We've been chatting with the Most Holy Reverend Apostle Bishop Ralph Screed of the First Pentecostal Baptismal Primitive Congregation of God's Holy Word in Elk Ridge, Maryland.
Just call me Reverend Jimmy.
I know what I want to call you, but I'm much too polite for that.
What'd you say?
And now it's time for another episode of Aaron Worthing's World of Law. Deep from his underground bunker in the law library below the bedrock strata of Manassas, Virginia, here is future Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Aaron Worthing.
Good day, gentle listener. And as you know, it is April 8th, 2013. It's a special day. It is the day set aside as everybody blog about Howard County State's Attorney Day. This was made necessary, brutally necessary, unfortunately necessary, when an assistant Howard County State's Attorney told my tearful, sobbing wife that if she wanted to be safe, she should not come to Maryland. My poor, gentle flower of a wife, so tender, so meek, so delicate and dainty. Honey, is the car ready to go?
Yes, dear.
Excellent. We'll be proceeding to Ellicott City in a few moments to monitor the progress of everybody blog about Howard County State's Attorney's Day. Honey, did you look under the hood?
Yes, dear, I did.
Did you check very carefully?
Yes, my love, I did. I checked all the wiring and nothing looks out of place.
Well, you can't be too careful, my love. Please, go check again.
Right away, my lord and master.
You see, I don't trust Brett Kimberlin any further than I can throw Bill Schmalfeld. Nah, you see, that's a joke about how large he is. I could throw Brett Kimberlin a far distance if I had any upper body strength. He's a little fellow. Honey, is everything looking okay under the hood of the car?
Yes, my love, so far I'm not finding anything that looks like it could be an ignition device or anything.
Other than the actual car's ignition?
Yes, my love, the actual car's ignition seems to be untampered with.
Very good. You know what to do now.
Yes, my dear. I will get the rolling cart and get underneath the car and inspect for bombs.
Good girl, good girl. You see, when you're in the position I'm in, when you're constantly stalked and harassed by such brutish, murdering thugs as Bill Schmalfeld and Brett Kimberlin, you cannot be too careful. That's why it's always a good idea to send someone expendable out to check your vehicle before you start it.
Honey, everything under the car looks okay.
That's good, honey, but make sure you double check.
Why can't your manservant Brutus do this?
Because, as I've just said, you have to send someone expendable. I need Brutus. I need a strong bodyguard. You understand, my petite little flower?
Well, I guess so.
Excellent. When you're done checking underneath the car, make sure you check the cigarette lighter, the brake pads, make sure the brake lines are all intact, and give the trunk a look-see. Make sure there are no secret GPS devices attached anywhere.
Whatever you say, my love and provider of good things.
I love that woman. I love her with all my heart. And it would be a terrible thing if she should find a bomb and accidentally set it off. Anyway, Brett Kimberlin, I hope you're listening. Because, you know, we will take every precaution to protect ourselves against your churlish, murderous impulses. And Bill Schmalfeld, your day of reckoning is coming.
Honey, the car looks all right. Everything looks fine.
All right, sweetheart, my delicate angel, my petite flower. Go ahead and start it and let me know when the engine warms up. Oh, and rev the engine up to about 4,000 RPMs a couple times. We just want to make sure there are no bombs set to go off at a certain RPM.
Whatever you say, love of my life, provider of income and shelter.
That's a good girl.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is...
Blood on the microphone.
Please note, the new number is...
Blood on the microphone.
This week in Brightbit News.
Mondays, everybody blog about the Howard County State's Attorney's Day was an unqualified success.
Not only did the president of Howard County award Aaron Walker and W.J.J. Hogue with the key to the county,
He reversed the state's attorney's decision to not prosecute Bill Schmalfeld for his many, many crimes.
had him and the state's attorney arrested, clapped into irons,
and thrown into the Tower of Ellicott City, where they will be fed fish heads and rice until they die.
Way to go, Aaron. Way to go, Hoggy.
How do you know your car is safe? How do you know Brett Kimberlin hasn't stashed a bomb in there anywhere?
Aaron Walker gives you some helpful tips on what to tell your wife to look for when you throw her under your car to check for incendiary devices.
Did you know that the Team Kimberlin logo, available on items sold at the Team Kimberlin Cafe Press store at www.cafepress.com/Team Kimberlin, has not one, but 2 commie flags on it?
Well, they resemble some commie flags. All they need is a hammer and a sickle and a change of colors, and they would be commie flags.
Check it out for yourself at www.cafepress.com/Team Kimberlin.
And see if we're lying about that.
And how long can a man ignore his own anal hygiene and still remain comfortable?
The tweeter, known as @KimberlinUnmasked, hasn't properly wiped himself in 15 years, and he says it doesn't bother him a bit.
These stories and more on the actual honest-to-God website that is anything but honest to God.
Brightbit News. It's free.
It's online.
It's a bunch of right-wing nonsense.
The kind you like.
If you prefer your red meat rancid and putrefied, it's the website for you.
Brightbit News. Available now
At www.BREITBITNEWS.com.
It's a real website, and we're sorry.
Oh, God, how we're sorry.
We're really, really sorry.
This is Blood on the microphone.
Hello. My name is R. Crazy McStain. I am a famous journalist known around the world as being a no bullshit kind of guy who speaks his mind. Even though I lost my voice box due to years of excessive smoking and drinking cheap alcohol. I have to inhale that through my stoma. That is a hole in my throat that I must breathe through. Anyway, Aaron Walker gave me $5 and a bottle of Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill to come on the radio today to tell you why he asks his wife to check the car for bombs before he goes anywhere in the car.
It is because she is a small individual who can fit into tighter spaces than he can. And besides, pardon me for just a moment. Oh man, that's good. Like I was saying, she has clever, tiny, slender little fingers that can get into the tight spaces that his big ham-like fingers cannot reach. Besides, he does not make her do it. She volunteers to do it if she knows what's good for her. So, enough of this talk about Aaron Walker forcing his beloved wife to put her life on the line while he stands behind a bomb blast shield as she crawls around under the hood of the car, beneath the car, up into the oil pan, checking the brake lines, checking the brake pads, under the hood, making sure that all the wires are where they are supposed to be. Excuse me. Oh yeah, terrible, but I need it. What was I talking about? She has good color vision and can spot a wire that is out of place. So, stop mocking Aaron Walker because he is a coward. Wait a minute. I meant stop mocking Aaron Walker saying he's a coward because he is not. He is not a coward. He is just a very, very cautious individual. Wait a minute. Oh yeah. Are we done now? Can I have my money?
And now it's time for another Medical Minute. Here with some interesting facts is retired writer-editor from the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland, Bill Schmalfeld.
It is a well-known fact, and it has been established by the Department of Homeland Security, that terrorists are now able to insert small incendiary devices into a person's skull. They generally do this while someone is either asleep or they chloroform someone while they're asleep. They sneak into the person's house and put a rag with chloroform over their face and render them deeply unconscious. Then with an almost needle-sized burr drill, they drill a tiny hole into the skull, insert the incendiary device, which is about the size of a grain of rice, actually. And then they seal up the hole with putty and cover it with a special epoxy that terrorists use. And then they just comb the hair right back over where the drill hole was. And you wake up in the morning maybe with a little bit of a headache, but otherwise not knowing that you have an explosive device in your head until the terrorists decide to set it off. And then, well, it's too late. We talked to a neurosurgeon who, for obvious reasons, doesn't wish to be identified. And he explained some cutting-edge techniques developed by the National Institutes of Health to remove these incendiary devices. Now, doctor, if I understand you correctly, you're saying that you can actually access these incendiary devices without having to open the skull. You can put an endoscope up through a person's nose and then retrieve the incendiary device, causing minimal damage to the patient. Am I right?
Over the last decade, endoscopy has been increasingly used in endonasal transsphenoidal surgery, not only for the removal of
incendiary devices implanted into the skull and brain,
but other brain and skull-based
incendiary devices that can be set off by a remote control, incendiary devices that can be set off by a change in air pressure, and many other types of bombs that terrorists use to implant into the brains of their victims these days.
In the short video that follows, endonasal endoscopic removal of a
bomb
is shown. The initial portion of the procedure involves removing bone at the back of the nasal cavity, the sphenoid bone, to provide access into the sphenoid sinus and to the
area where the terrorist put the bomb.
After the sphenoidotomy is performed using a binostril two-surgeon technique, the microdoppler probe is used to localize the carotid artery, and the surgical navigation probe confirms adequate exposure. Next, the dura is opened with a microblade, taking care to only open the dura and not enter into the
bomb itself, because results would be tragic, as happened in the past during such a surgery in Frankfurt, Germany, which leveled an entire hospital.
Using microdissectors and suction, the
bomb
is then identified and separated from the dura, as well as the normal pituitary gland.
Well, that's just great, Doctor, and thank you for sharing that information with us. This has been another Medical Minute. I'm retired National Institutes of Health writer-editor Bill Schmalfeld. Thank you for joining us. Hands that are scuffed and dirty from the times she crawls under my car. Hair that gets caught in the crankshaft. It's sad, but that's just how things are. Eyes that show some deep resentment, 'cause for me she is risking her life. She's the protection I count on. My woman, my woman, my wife. She knows I'm not a coward, but I am the one with the brains. There's times when it seems she's discouraged, but she knows better than to complain. Lips that are chapped and bitten from holding back words that cause strife. Obedient, quiet, compliant. My woman, my woman, my wife. I am the target of men who harass, but I'm far too clever for that. I use my wife as a shield for my life, and so far she's covered my ass. If she gets blown up by car bombs, tell her I will not be far behind. Tell her that I will remarry, but don't sweat it, and just bear in mind. Lord, let her live in my mansion as she enters her eternal life, and tell her to check it for weapons. My woman, my woman, my wife. I love her so much.
You are listening to Blood on the Microphone.
Greetings. My name is R. Casey McStain, managing editor of Viral Screed and my own blog, The Other McStain. I realize for many of you, this is the first time you are hearing my voice, and for that I apologize. I lost my voice box due to years of excessive smoking and drinking cheap alcohol. If you purchase any of the items for sale at Team Kimberlin's store on cafepress.com, you are contributing to the downfall of Western civilization. Team Kimberlin stands against everything we hold dear, educating young people about the importance of voting. Who thinks that's a good idea? A bunch of pot-smoking, red-eyed slackers going to the polls and voting for Democrats. And the National Parkinson Foundation. Really? God wanted these shaky, wobbly old bastards to have Parkinson's, or he would not have blessed them with the disease. If you go interfering with God's law, well, you're in a heap of trouble. So do not go to www.cafepress.com/Team Kimberlin and purchase any of their wide assortment of t-shirts, hats, hoodies, sweats, cups, keychains, mouse pads, or cute little doggy jackets. You're just going to wind up making things worse for the 1%, and we cannot let that happen. Now, where's that bottle of Mad Dog 2020 I was promised for cutting this spot?
Never mind the bollocks. Here's Team Kimberlin with all that nice stuff that's going to make you look cool and help fight for social justice at the same time. 50% of the proceeds from the sale of each item goes to the Justice Through Music Project, an organization that uses famous musicians and bands to organize and educate and activate young people about the importance of civil rights, human rights, and voting. The other 50% goes to the National Parkinson Foundation, which works with Parkinson's patients and their caregivers to help them endure the daily challenges of this disease that affects some 1.5 million Americans, with 50,000 new diagnoses each year. So visit www.cafepress.com/Team Kimberlin today and shop until it feels good. Remember, as R. Casey McStain says,
where's my damn bottle of wine?
Blood on the Microphone.
I mean, it's not like I got anything against him on an individual basis, understand that. But there's just something, I don't know, creepy about him. You ever notice that? Bright spots have got no reason. Bright spots have got no reason. Bright spots have got no reason to live. They got muddy hands, beady eyes. They walk around telling great big lies. They got pointed noses and rotten little teeth. They wear wingtip shoes on their nasty little feet. Well, I don't want no bright spots around. Don't want no bright bots around. Don't want no bright bots around here. Bright bots are not the same as you and I. A man such as I, all men are brothers until the day they die. It's a liberal world. Bright bots have got nobody. Bright bots have got nobody. Bright bots have got nobody to blow. They got little shriveled balls, the women too. You got to scrape them off of your shoe. You got the tiny minds, they stay asleep. They got screechy voices like asthmatic sheep. They got boogers on their fingers and ugly little minds. They'll just lie to you every time. Well, I don't want no bright bots around. Don't want no bright bots around. Don't want no bright bots around here. I mean, it's not a thing about class or anything like that. I'm not saying that, they belong to a different class of people or a different species or anything like that. They're just not very smart. I mean, name one thing a bright bot has contributed to society other than hate, prejudice. I hear Stranahan's a good cook, but man.
And as I said yesterday, as I closed the show, the one thing I want you to take away from this, if you learn nothing else today, if you remember nothing else from today's show, file this away. Aaron Walker makes his wife check his car to see if there are any bombs in it. This is your hero. This is the man you're donating money to. This is the man who proclaims himself to be the last stop between unremitting terror and civilization. Aaron Walker should be shunned, laughed at. When seen on the street, he should be pointed at and laughed at. But don't throw anything at him. Don't throw anything at him, because that would be insult, or that would be assault if you threw something at him. Think about throwing something at him, but don't actually do it. Aaron Walker deserves nothing but your scorn, your derision, your mockery, and your insults. And anybody who supports Aaron Walker, either emotionally or financially, is as bad as he is. Aaron Walker makes his wife check their car for bombs, and he does it every single day. I'm Bill Schmalfelt, the Liberal Grouch. This has been Blood on the Microphone. Talk to you later.
The weed of crime bears bitter fruit. Crime does not pay.
The Liberal Grouch knows.
Blood on the Microphone is an internet radio program Copyright 2013 by Bill Schmalfelt. All rights reserved. To learn more about the evil doings of the Breitbart gang and other duplicitous right-wing scum, subscribe online to www.breitbartunmasked.com. You can follow Bill on Twitter by entering at liberalgroundchattwitter.com. You can friend Bill on Facebook by logging on to www.facebook.com/libby.grouch. Of course, you can like the Blood on the Microphone fan page on Facebook at www.facebook.com/bloodymike. That's /BLOODYMIC, like one word. Don't forget to show your support for Blood on the Microphone, Breitbart Unmasked, and social justice by becoming a charter member of Team Kimberlin today. Go to www.cafepress.com/Team Kimberlin and check out all the hats, shirts, cups, stickers, buttons, and other gear. Remember, 50% of the profits go to the Justice Through Music project. The other 50% to the National Parkinson Foundation. Blood on the Microphone is a Team Kimberlin production and can be heard live at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday on Spreaker Web Radio. Join us next time for more Blood on the Microphone. And Breitbots, don't forget, he's coming. He's coming for you. Will you be ready?